January 11, 1055. We're in Baghdad, the city that was once the glittering heart of a vast empire. 5 centuries ago, the Abbasid Caliphate was founded, and at its peak, it was a global powerhouse of learning, trade, and culture, stretching from North Africa all the way to Central Asia. But by the mid-11th century, that glorious past felt like a distant memory. The Caliph al-Qaim faced a harsh reality on this day. He was the Caliph, the leader of the faithful, but he wasn't really in charge. For decades, real power in Baghdad belonged to military rulers, specifically a Persian dynasty called the Abbasids. They controlled the army, they controlled the money, and they allowed the Caliph to exist simply as a religious figurehead. The city itself was a mess. Rival factions were constantly fighting in the streets, markets were shut down during the unrest, and the Caliph's own palace was guarded by soldiers who answered to someone else. It was a city teetering on the edge of chaos. Desperate to bring back some stability, Caliph al-Qaim looked east for help. He saw a rising power, the Seljuk Turks. The Seljuks were fierce warriors and fellow Sunni Muslims, led by a man named Tughril Beg, who had already built a formidable empire. So when Seljuk forces marched into Baghdad in January 1055, they weren't seen as invaders. They were seen as protectors, saviors even. On January 11th, Tughril Beg officially took control of the city. He kicked out the Abbasids, took command of the military, and placed the Caliph under his new guardianship. This single day marked a monumental shift in the Islamic world. From this point on, the Caliph would rarely rule directly. Instead, powerful military leaders, the sultans, would govern in his name. Religious authority and political power were now officially split. For Baghdad, this brought a brief period of peace. For the wider world, it set a political precedent that would last for centuries. Empires would continue to rise and fall, and dynasties would change, but the Caliph would remain a powerful symbol, but politically powerless. There were no grand parades or massive celebrations on January 11, 1055. It was just a quiet, almost administrative, transfer of control. Soldiers swapped out their banners, and commanders started taking orders from a new boss. We often think of history in terms of dramatic collapses and epic battles, but more often than not, power just slowly slips away, day by day, until one single moment makes the change impossible to ignore. On that day, a caliph still sat on the throne, but the empire he was supposed to rule was now in the hands of others. Join us tomorrow for another story from history. Thanks for watching.